Why are we still talking about this deck? Hello, guys, and we'll go back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are back with Malice. Yeah, the deck's not dead. And the reason for this is because, by the way, this is the exact same list that I played last time I made a video on this deck. And the reason for that is because nothing has changed technically with this deck. However, the reason I'm talking about it again, whereas nothing has changed with the deck itself, there is something important to talk about. And it is the fact that this deck, I think, is heavily underrated. Mostly due to the fact that this deck does what Cool Tune does, but better. Let me explain. Cool Tune's whole strategy is play a whole bunch of hand traps, hand trap the opponent going second, and FTK them going first, right? Or something of that nature, right? You get to stack the deck, you get to look at the hand, you get to do all of that jazz. Cool. This does the exact same thing. However, I think it's better. Two reasons. One, it actually plays going second similarly well due to the fact that it plays a whole bunch of very powerful go second cards, like Axis Code Talker and Axis Code Talker and Axis Code Talker. It's just this card. However, with that being said, it also has the ability to play more effective hand traps. Sure, Ash Blossom is nice and Go Spell does work, but Impulse can literally end a turn lickety-split. Just immediately. You can just be minding your own business, activate a Brand Diffusion, and then get absolutely domed by fucking Impulse, which just kills an entire turn. It can ruin a game and just shut you down almost entirely. And the difference between having something like Impulse and having something like Ghost Bell is night and day, right? Impulse almost always has application against pretty much every deck. There's very, very few decks that it doesn't have application against, or that it's not useful against. That being said, there's a lot of decks that don't care about Ghost Bell, or Droll, or Ash Blossom. Almost no deck cares about Ash Blossom, let's be honest with ourselves. Or Veiler, right? And I think that is one of the biggest advantages that this deck has over Cool Tune. Now, on my tier list, I put this deck behind Cool Tune, and I think I am incorrect about that. Having played it in the WCQ, I have seen the error of my ways. Every time I play this deck, I just see how incredibly powerful it is every single time. Going first, it's basically an FTK. There's just so little people can do against it, even if they draw something like Fua, or if they draw something like, Imperm or Ash, or, multiple hand traps. Unless it is Lancia or Maxi, there is almost always some sort of insane end board that you can end on. And secondly, if you do get to go uninterrupted, or basically you get to do your combo, regardless of whether or not there's an interruption, if you still get to do your mostly full combo, you basically FTK the opponent. There is so many points of interaction, so many draws, so many additional things that you get to do, and you get to put on your field, that there is very, very few decks that have the capability of realistically beating your board. In fact, I do not know if there is a single deck that can realistically compete, just because of the sheer quantity of interactions. Not quality per se, but quantity. And that is where I think Malice shines. I hate how good this deck still is, but yeah, you do just kind of get to FTK your opponent. The biggest downside most people would attribute to Malice is the fact that all of the cards that actually matter are limited. Oh no, how am I going to do the combo? Well, as it turns out, you have like 10,000 different ways because you're in Cybers. So while the deck is not as consistent as it used to be, it's still relatively consistent. Especially because for some reason, Konami decided to give us a card that literally draws 2 at quick effect speed and can be played in almost every deck, and has the ability to be played alongside other cards that search out cards that would allow you to then utilize the draw 2 with basically no downside. It's very good design. Thank you, Konami. Vision is a great card. That being said, let's go quickly through the card by card. Starting off with the non-engine, we are playing 1 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and 3 Impulse, as well as Called by, Crossout, and the Bestials, Druis, and Magnemite. We're also playing the Radiant Typhoon package because both of these guys gets you into a Cherubini. Cherubini can send to the graveyard one of your Malice monsters, and then any other guy, which could be a normal summon of a hand trap or another Malice monster, would then get you into Haggard Lizardos, which would then do the whole line. Fantastic. So we are playing one of the Eldam, 2 Swen, and 3 Chant alongside the 1 Vision. This is basically just a search target, and then the 1 MST, similarly a search target. As for the Malices, we are maxing out on them. We're playing the 1 Rabbit, the 1 Chessie, the 1 Dormouse, and the 3 March Hare, as well as the 1 Field Spell, the 1 Gold Sark, which is basically a Malice card at this point, as well as 1 piece of each of the traps. And then we are playing the Adagnister package as well, with the backup Adagnister, as well as the Wizard Adagnister. We are not playing the Achichi, and the reason for this is simply put, it's worse than playing the Radiant Typhoon cards, so we're just doing that. As for the extra deck, it is all Link monsters. We have 3 Link 1s, Almirage, Link Karibo, and Decode. And the reason for all of this is because Almirage can normal summon a hand trap and then trigger the backup Adagnister, which allows you to do the whole line. Link Karibo is a trap negate for some reason. And Link Decoder is one of the most busted Link 1s of all time. And all of them allow you to also make 1 monster on field go to the grave, which is nice, while also trading it for a Link monster, which was summoned from the extra deck, which can trigger a whole bunch of different things. We have the Cherubini and the Haggard Lizardos for the previous line, as mentioned. We're also playing 1 Nightmare Phoenix, which comes up occasionally. This could be pretty much anything, to be fair. We're also playing a Cyberse Wick Kid, which allows you to use any 2 Cyberse monsters to then, well, more specifically, if you have any 3 Cyberse monsters, you could then go into the Cyberse Wick Kid, link off into a guy, like the Link Karibo, Decode, or Link Decoder, banish one of your monsters from the grave, and then search out the backup Adagnister. We also then have the Splash Mage, because, of course, we have the ability to make this guy just a free reborn. Hooray. SP Little Knight as well. That's all our Link 2s. We have Transcode Talker, as well as the Malice White Rabbit, as well. White Binder, sorry, as well as the Hearts Cryptor for our Link 3s. We have 2 Link 4s in here, Firewall Dragon and Axis Code Talker. If, for example, you were to utilize a Max C or gain access to Max C by like banishing it or not banishing it, but like sending it to the graveyard via various different means, if you have in rotation a Cockroach, you have the ability to bounce it back to your hand via Firewall. It is silly. We're not playing the line that, like, specifically allows you to search it, but, yeah, you can go for the Firewall here, which is, again, very silly. Axis Code Talker is not only a extender, but it also allows you to, of course, break boards. It's kind of crazy. And then we have Allied Code Talker Adagnister, which is a crazy boss monster, allowing for negation in this archetype that didn't need it, but also makes it so much more powerful. Not being stopped by things like Evenly Matched or Harpy's Feather Duster or Raigeki or something of that nature is an insane addition to the end board. So, let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alrighty, so here we are going second. Crazy. But this is going to showcase what this deck does going second, right? We have Druid Worm and Impulse, which are not exactly great here. We're playing against Cool Tune, which means that because they saw Rotary, they get to do the whole line. The Impulse just doesn't do anything here. They also get to look at our hand. Let's see what we can accomplish off of this. They're going to go for the JJ Cool Tune. They're going to go for the Cool Tune Synchro. They're going to activate the JJ Cool Tune. They're going to activate the Cool Tune Synchro. They're going to grab the Q. They're going to go for the additional normal summon. They also know it's in hand, so there's that. I am literally just going to try and save the Impulse for the JJ Cool Tune here. They're going to go for the Zaleen. Okay, well, now I guess I can't do that. And they see a second Impulse. Okay, well, sure, why not? I will not end up using this Impulse until the last turn, so keep that in mind. They're going to go for the remix here, and I elect to... Sorry, they tried to pass the turn here. After going for a remix, they have the Zaleen, they have the remix, and they have a set card, which I don't actually think I know what it is technically, but I'm assuming it's a Cool Tune Synchro. And so I attempt to actually play the game here. Now, one of the big advantages of March Hare is the fact that March Hare has the ability to just activate during the main phase. So you can actually kind of start playing the game on the opponent's turn. So they do their whole line, and now I get to add back my cards. Fantastic. Cool. Now, my opponent makes a huge mistake here. They allow me to not just go to combat here. So first and foremost, they're going to add back Ash Blossom against Malice. I don't know what the... I could not tell you why you would do this. I have no idea. Ash is terrible. I don't know why we didn't just, like, add Mix and then, like, that's a removal, but we didn't. So, okay. Now, they do grab Clip. Sure. But I immediately go to the battle phase and attack it. And they allow it, which gets rid of the Zaleen. Cool, now I don't have to contest pretty much anything, and we have the Dominus Impulse for whatever they end up doing. They're going to go for the RS here. I'm like, that's fine. We're going to go for the White Rabbit. They're going to go and pop our Field Spell and banish a card. It's a useless card that doesn't matter. So we're going to go for the White Rabbit. They are going to elect to negate, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird choice given the fact that they know I have multiple Impulse in hand, and the set card is likely the Quick Play, but okay, sure. Anyway, I'm going to do the whole line unless this is a Quick Play. Oh, it's called by. Well, I have the second March here, which they also knew about, so I'm going to banish my other guy and then just link off into White Binder. And, yeah, this basically does what I need it to do. So we're going to go here into the March here. We're going to go for the White Binder. We're going to activate the effect of the MTP, which is going to eat the Ash Blossom. That is known in hand, which is A-okay because we do still get to go for the White Binder. And I draw... So they searched back the Ash Blossom while still having Droll in hand. Truly the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we're gonna go for the Link Decoder here, and then I'm gonna go for the Access Code Talker, and we're actually going to just not use the Link Decoder. And the reason for this is because I'm just going to banish it anyway, so not really a point in using its effect. But we're just going to banish. We're going to deal with the Field Spell as well as the Recco, so that they don't have the ability to just, like, immediately fuse, or Synchro. That's kind of the idea there. Coolio. They will go to main phase and then activate Synchro Overtake, which has an effect that special summons. Good thing we have Impulse. So we're just going to Impulse. They're going to attempt to negate, and I have the Imperm. Good game. Now, I said this was the last turn. That's technically not true. Technically, we get into turn 4, but I activate the Access Code Talker, and then they scoop for some reason, because I think they thought that they could potentially negate. They can't. It's Access Code Talker. This card should be banned. Anyway, good game. Alrighty, here we are utilizing the Radiant Typhoon half of our deck, going first. We're going to start off here with the Radiant Typhoon chance to grab Eldam. We're going to go for the Eldam for the Swen. We're going to go for the Swen here. We're going to activate its effects. We're going to grab the Vision. Then we are going to go into Cherubini. Now, here's the thing. At this point, I look at my opponent because I go, oh, wow, they've allowed me to get this far. That's crazy. And then I look at their deck and I go, oh, it's a 60-card deck. Awesome. I get to do Cold Fusion. So my brain shuts off, and I say, no hand traps. Let's see what we can accomplish here. So we're going to play the game here, doing a whole bunch of weird lines. I wouldn't necessarily say that I am playing the correct way to do this if I am trying to play around hand traps. But again, I've kind of put in my mind no hand traps. So that's kind of why we're doing things this way. We're going to go for the White Binder. We're going to grab the TV. We're going to go for the TV. We're going to summon out the Chessy Cat. We're going to bring back the March Hare, or the White Binder. We're going to draw a card. I draw into the Imperm, which is funny. We're going to go for the Link Decoder at a point. I don't know. I'm clicking buttons here. We're going to go for the Splash Mage. We're going to link off into the Transcode Talker. I can't activate the effect of Transcode Talker because I have already gone into a non-Cybers monster. Keep that in mind. Don't try and use this as an extender. If you do any of the Radiant Typhoon stuff. Got it? Got it. Or if you go into, like, Haggard Lizardos. Anyway, we're going to link off into the Cyber's Wick Kid. We're going to use the Wick Kid to banish a guy in order to grab up the backup Agonister, which is then going to bring back the Chessy Cat. Now we can activate the backup Agonister in order to grab the Wizard and pitch a card. Now we can activate the Chessy Cat, banishing in order to draw 2. And hey, that's Impulse. That's going to save us. And yeah, by the way, I have 22 cards left in deck. So when I drew, I had 24 cards left in deck, meaning the chance of me drawing into Impulse is very high. Anyway, we're going to banish a card here so that we have the ability to utilize the Heart Scripter effect. So we're going to do that. We're going to shuffle the card back, and then we're going to go for the Heart Scripter. We're going to then go for the Wizard at Ignister. We're going to reborn a guy. We're going to link off those into the Allied Code Talker at Ignister, which is then going to reborn the Trans Code Talker as well as the White Binder. Now, notably, this means that this guy in particular, our Omni Negate card, does not have the ability to be targeted, which is pretty important. So there's that. Also, I'm going to banish a few cards here for the Heart Scripter. We're going to set some cards. I'm going to reveal the MST as the last card, and we're going to keep the Impulse in hand. Don't worry, the negation of other effects just doesn't matter. They're going to do some things and then super poly away my field after I attempt to imperm here, and sure. They're going to play Proskenion. First of all, Proskenion? Who's playing Proskenion? That's a choice. I've seen it a few times, but it's like, I don't know, weird. They're going to go for the Branded Fusion, which is going to be met by the Impulse. Hip hip hooray. Now, they do go for the Proskenion to grab the Allied Code Talker at Ignister, which, notably, this card actually has a restriction, which says when your opponent activates a card or effect, you contribute a Link monster this card points to negate the activation. So, that's a choice. Anyway, they couldn't have really, like, fused off with anything else, so it makes sense. Anyway, I guess they could have utilized Proskenion and... No, I guess they could only use one of my monsters, right? Because they didn't. I didn't have a dark. Anyway, they're going to attempt to destroy my Heart Scripter, so I'm just going to shuffle back a card and pop a card. Or banish a card. They sent the Titaniclad. I activate the MTP because I'm stupid. And I don't activate the GWC first, because again, I'm stupid. It still won't matter. I didn't even activate the March Hare. It's not going to matter. That's how good this deck is. Had I activated the GWC, they wouldn't have gotten the Albaz in order to pitch a card and fuse away into the Mirror Jade. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. What am I going to do? Now, don't worry. They're going to go into their Mirror Jade. That's fine. I'm going to activate both of my effects. We're going to reborn some guys. Oh, by the way, I gained life points off of the effect of my trap card, so I'm not close to dead, even with a Proskenion burn. We also get a TB11 for later use. They're going to banish one of my guys. Oh, no, heaven forbid. They're going to go for the Albion to set the Fallen and the Virtuous, but don't worry. Earlier, we searched MST, so we get to just pop it. Oh, it goes away. Fantastic. Now, here's the thing. At this point, I can make Access Code Talker and kill them into the sun. There is nothing that they can do about this. They are dead. Good game. Shake my hand. I played so poorly. It didn't matter. I just had like 9,000 interactions against one of the decks that is most effective at being able to play through established boards with Engine. Guess what? They saw really powerful Engine and Super Polymerization to potentially deal with the field, and it didn't matter. Malice. Alrighty, I drew the Roach. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Let's see what we can accomplish here. Now, what I will say is that this is truly just a showcase in futility from my opponent, because as soon as a Malice player starts playing the game and you have nothing, scoop it up. Like, I hate to say it, there is so little that you can do, and there's guaranteed to be a Roach, an Impulse, an Imperm, some sort of other shenaniganry. But it's okay. My opponent's got this. Don't worry. They can do it. Some people were smart and saw that I activated a Malice card, and they went, oh, you got it. But a lot of people were really dumb. And we just sat here wasting time. So we're going to go for the Splash Mage here. We're going to activate and bring back the guy. I'm just letting the combo kind of play out. If you have any questions, write them down below in the comment. Be like, why is it that we did this? It's probably a misplay, let's be honest. Anyway, we pitched the... I forget what we pitched. We pitched the cross out for some reason. I don't know. I'm not going to pitch the Impulse or the Maxi. I guess I could have technically sent the Maxi to the graveyard and then just added it back off of Firewall Dragon here. Like, I could have just made a Firewall Dragon here and then added back the card, and then I would have been fine. But I didn't. So that's fine. Anyway, cool. I made this abomination of an end board. So let's count the number of interactions here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I guess, off of like this. Plus, with the search, we could potentially even reborn additional guys. Not to mention, you know, our board's basically going to be insulated from destruction because, or just like, removal is not going to be all that useful due to the fact that we're going to have so many guys that we can put back onto the field. So it's certainly something. Oh. Neocraft. It's fine. It's a Neocraft. Anyway, I'm going to ash them. I'm also going to banish their trap there. We're going to add the March Hare. They're going to banish the March Hare, which is funny. We're going to add it just right back. Imagine if they banish, like, Impulse or something. They're going to go for the Neopolis. I'm going to pop it. They're going to go for the Rebirth. I'm going to negate it. And then they scoop it up. They figured it out eventually. Yeah. Malice. Good game. All right, we're back with the deck, and honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, or more specifically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel right now, is in a state of either FTK the opponent, or they're going to FTK you. And that's kind of where we're at. Hand traps are almost obsolete, but they're so mandatory because of the sheer quantity of bullshit decks there are, right? Like Orchist, or Elf Note, or anything that wants to make a Baron, are just going to literally kill you into the sun if you allow them to play the game. So being able to not do that is nice, but it's also kind of impossible. So many decks have the ability to just play through all of that. So in a world where that is a possibility, and a realistic possibility, your best option is to do one of two things. Join them, play an FTK, or attempt to not do that and actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you do that, you will be not having a good time, is what I will say. All I have to say about this is almost every deck feels very similar to this in particular, with some minor exceptions, right? Like Draco Tail, I guess, is like the one exception. Vanquishal Canine, I guess, is the other one. So like other than those two decks, which have the ability to play on turn 0, whereas this deck kind of does, but not really. Most of the decks don't really have the ability to play on turn 0. But other than those two decks, not a lot of decks have the ability to actually FTK or set up a board so thoroughly busted that it is basically an FTK as Malice. Malice just does it the best. It's the strongest at doing it. It is the most resilient to hand traps. I got hand trapped thrice, still did the full line. Like, Droll, Ash, Imperm, I forget what it was. But it was 3 relatively strong hand traps. And it just didn't matter. I played through all of them as if it was nothing. Welcome to Malice. I didn't even have a particularly strong hand. It was like an okay hand. You know, I don't even think I drew a Malice name. Maybe I did. Maybe I drew White Rabbit or something of that nature. But the point is that, again, it just doesn't matter. You get to play through everything. You get to play through Droll. You have lines through Fua that are basically the same end board because, as it turns out, Heart Scriptor is a crazy card. You can play through Ash Blossom and Imperm and Veilers and Ghost Spells and all of that jazz as if they're nothing, right? So, I don't know. Pretty well positioned. On top of that, again, if the opponent just doesn't have anything and lets you set up, you will just win. Good luck to the opponent. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you guys did enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.